With that, I'd like to proudly introduce Matt Collard, the president of the Student Veterans Association.
Is everybody warm? Before I planned this event, I asked a bunch of people if 50 degrees was good enough for them, and they're like, yep, for an hour. So we'll try and get you out of here. But I would like to share with you my story. And it begins with a question. If not me, then who? This question guided me in my early life to a recruiter and demanded a Special Forces contract for the Army. After what seemed like tons of tests and various other signatures, because I was 18 going to a high energy field, I signed my contract before I started my senior year in high school. I continued to be influenced through high school by things I've read and quotes that I've come to memorize. Like Hercules, who said, out of 100 men, 10 shouldn't even be there, 80 are just targets, 9 are real fighters, we are lucky to have them, and 1 is a warrior and he will bring the others back. And I was also influenced by Thomas Paine, who said, if there must be trouble in my day, let it be, if there is to be trouble, let it be in my day, so that my child will know peace. I read books like On Killing and On Combat by Dave Grossman because I wanted to be the best soldier possible. A month of graduation, I went to Fort Benning for infantry school. I spent 14 weeks shooting and other physical fitness and then more shooting. After that, I progressed to the Special Forces assignment and selection. I did not make the cut. At which point I was assigned to my unit. I say my unit because all 9 years I was in the Army, I was assigned to this one. But it was the 5th Stryker Brigade, 2nd Infantry Division. The brand new division, brand new unit in the global war on terror. It was filled like like-minded individuals like myself that failed Special Forces, that failed the Ranger contracts. Therefore, my unit was made of entirely Type A personalities. We were experts at our craft and ready to fight. In 2009, my unit was tasked as part of President Obama's surge into Afghanistan. We were assigned the green zone of the Arghandab River Valley, the birthplace of the Taliban. My unit did what we were trained to do and what we practiced for 3 years beforehand and took the fight to the enemy. It is then I started seeing the truth of the quotes I memorized earlier. I knew why Thomas Paine wanted the fighting to be in his day. So my daughter would not know what I have seen. The events of that deployment shaped me into the leader and person I am today. Though once that experience was over, I began to make the transition to the real world. I began to understand the complex issues of post-service life. My first job post-service, I took a 50% pay cut from what I was making in the Army. I was severely underemployed doing data entry. After 5 different jobs and a multitude of interviews, I concluded that those 9 years of my life that I gave to a higher purpose than myself didn't really matter to anyone. It was discouraging, especially all the skills I developed from the service, like basics of using Windows, report writing, inventory management, risk assessments, and basic leadership skills that we've all learned. And then I came to the conclusion that veterans train with the concept that losing is unacceptable, and that you either do or do not. This works in the military with ease. It does not work so well in after the Army life, which is hard for us to accept. It is not until I discussed it with my friend that we came to this conclusion. And it was not often until I did door-to-door sales that I realized that I will not win at every time. I feel that every veteran runs into this problem once they get stable. In the military, a job of a leader is to provide purpose, direction, and motivation. The question comes up with what am I doing with life and where do I go from here? I was like that until this past summer, just treading water trying to figure this out. Then my brother told me my own question to myself of, if not me, then who? That snapped me back to my younger self, the one that was all gung-ho for joining the Army. I took that question again and applied it to my life. I looked at things I wish someone would do. Then I was reading one of my favorite books. It hit me. Space. I don't make it so humans can go and explore and develop space, so my daughter can fly and see Mars. Some look at me strangely when I talk about this, like it's impossible. And I just remembered my 16-year-old self going around telling people I was going to be Special Forces, and them telling me that I'm going to make it. I do not believe anything's impossible. I was taught that as long as you have a plan, it's a step-by-step process to a goal. Like step number 1, build a Boise spaceport. Step number 2, hire smart people. Step 3, have smart people do most of the science and math so I can focus on the bigger picture. That single incident turned my life around, and I found my purpose and the purpose, and then the direction and motivation came with it. Therefore, it's all blown away. When people ask me about veterans issues, I talk about purpose, because to inspire a veteran is to put him to task on whatever issue was discussed, which allows us to use that ingrained sense of succeed against all odds and see it done. Currently, veterans are leading innovations, starting charitable foundations, becoming entrepreneurs, and YouTube celebrities for veteran causes. Because once veterans set our sights on something we want to do, we apply 100% to get it done. So I ask you, when talking to a veteran, inspire them to help shape our future. Thank you.